is the Saturday Sports Countdown. To be a part of the program, call 256-234-6221. Now, let's join Brett, Randy, and Luke for the Saturday Sports Countdown.
Good Saturday morning out there to everybody, and welcome into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. Brett Pritchard and Randy Lee, and yes, we're tired, we're exhausted, we're hanging on by a thread, but we're here, and we're glad that you joined us this morning. We got a lot to talk about here in this first hour, probably most of the first hour. Going to talk about the Super 7, some really, really good football games over the last 3 days down at Jordan-Hare Stadium, and last night, man, it culminated maybe with the best one. Oxford winning at the very end against Spanish Fort, 14-13. I don't even really know where to start in that game. So many different plays, most of them on special teams, end up having an impact on the outcome of that game. And you go back, and if you look at one play, that missed extra point for Spanish Fort loomed large. When you miss an extra point in a game like that, you always have it in the back of your mind. Is that going to cost us? Is that going to come back to haunt us? And it did. But Oxford loses their quarterback. Spanish Fort loses their quarterback at the very end of the game. All of that had major impact on how the outcome came out.
Well, I feel for the kid that kicked. I really do. That was one thing as I was walking out and heading to my car last night. I was going, gosh, prayers for that young man, because that's tough. That's a tough thing to live with. And they had 3 missed kicks. And the first of those 3 missed kicks was beautiful. Perfectly struck ball. You have a timeout called across the way. The timeout in the mix, they get a 15-yard personal foul penalty with 2 offensive linemen and a defensive lineman getting caught up with one another. Take the football back 15 yards. 3 points come off the board. Miss the next kick. They miss another field goal in the second half.
Yep.
Missed that extra point. Had a lot of opportunities, Brett, but tip your hat to Oxford. Oxford as well had several calls not go their way last night, and the officiating crew was, with Skip Poe leading that, was outstanding. That was one of the toughest games I can remember to call and communicate to us and to communicate to everyone else what was going on. I've always had a respect, but I have a newfound respect for how tough that job is, especially when you get 8 or 10 calls in a game where everyone is like, what do you do? What do you do here? And you have to get out there and communicate it. They did a great job, didn't they?
Yeah, instant replay is a new addition to high school football. We've had it. They experimented with it a couple of years ago. The state of Alabama is really the first one to implement replay in the state, in the country, and it had a major impact last night. I mean, there were probably four calls in that game that they had to go to review on, or challenges, and we saw it throughout the Super 7, challenging the spot in the Pleasant Grove game, trying to decide if they needed, if they got a first down, lost a timeout, ended up being detrimental to Pleasant Grove, because they had 8 seconds down there at the 10-yard line, and the quarterback decides to run the ball, and he gets tackled at the 1. No time on the clock. Central Clay wins another state championship because of it. So all these new rules, all the instant replay, having a major impact on what's going on in the games. But last night, the fumble on the Spanish Fort side into the end zone, debated whether you could fumble forward or not. Obviously, we found out you can, but they were looking at whether his knee was down before he even fumbled the ball. Stuff that you don't even, when you're caught in the moment, man, there's so much going on. You got one team yelling for one thing, another team yelling for another. You got the fans going crazy. In that moment, the officials have to come together and say, all right, let's try to get this thing right and do the best thing we can. And I thought they graded out at 100 last night. In all of those tough situations, I think they got them all right. And that's crazy, because it's easy to miss one or two.
Oh, of course.
Even with review. Even with review, to go back and go, well, we don't see enough. We got to stay with the call on the field. But I think at the end, they went through and they got it all right.
Well, and I thought Oxford continued to give themselves a chance to win the football game. I thought the team that played the best in the fourth in crunch time won the football game. And it's kind of, a breath of fresh air when you say that and they have opportunities, and it's not only that fourth down conversion play, which they had to go back to replay to determine where that was.
That's right.
They actually moved the football ahead about a half a yard.
They did.
Still doesn't get Oxford the first down, but Oxford defense stands up, directly backwards goes Spanish Fort on 3 plays. They do have 2 timeouts, enough to keep enough of the clock on there, get the football back with, about a minute and a half to go.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Able to put a nice drive together and stick it into the end zone and win a touchdown. Britt was their quarterback after Higgins went down, and Britt was named the MVP last night, and deservedly so. On that final drive, his ability to escape pressure, make big plays with his legs. He's got a big arm also at only, 5'8", 170 pounds or so. But really impressed with Oxford. Very impressed with the Oxford community. They came out in droves. They had the biggest crowd of the weekend, and that's saying a lot, of the week. That's saying a lot because on Wednesday night we had Thompson and Phoenix City, who both travel well. Yeah. Great. I saw the numbers. It's 15,000 fans out for that ball game.
Yeah.
Maybe they had a little bit more than Oxford did, but it was clear that Oxford brought most of the town.
Yeah, there were 16,000 over the course of yesterday total. On Wednesday, there was almost 15,000 in one game.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, for one school, Thompson, and look, it's not a knock on Spanish Fort, but man, they didn't have anybody show up. I mean, it just from a standpoint of looking over there at the stands, their 1A and 2A schools had more fans there than Spanish Fort, and I don't know what the deal is with them. When we went down in 2015 in a semifinal matchup, you look across the way and half the stands are empty. I mean, we couldn't get anybody else, of course, on our side, but it's been that way for Spanish Fort. We've talked about this on our shows before. They're relatively still a young school with not an older fan base.
A big alumni base that they can pull from.
Well, they don't, but still, with a school that size, I mean, you'd think.
Well, and with the success that they've had.
That's it.
And I thought Ben Blackman, by the way, having to pretty much go to a complete running game, not throwing the football at all, he gave his team a very good opportunity to win a state championship, and they came back from a very mediocre regular season with 4 losses in the regular season, Brett. But you're right. That school and that winning, they've won 4 state championships in the last decade, deserves a fan base that builds and grows and kind of gets behind it. But
they were so one-dimensional, though,
yep.
In that game, and we knew going in. We felt like it'd be a problem for Oxford to stop them, and they did at times, but for the most part, they contained him. And just when you get in that situation like that, when you're that one-dimensional and you're really no threat to throw it at all, it's hard to win a state championship. It just is.
First state championship for Oxford since 1993. That 93 season has been key for a couple of teams here in this state. Phoenix City get over the hump last year for the first time since 1993. Oxford had won 3 state titles between 88 and 93, but I don't know that they've been back in a title game since they moved it to venues. Maybe I'm wrong there, but I've never known them to play in a championship game in venues, and that's the reason you saw a big turnout last night, and they exploded. When they scored that touchdown with about 30 seconds left, that side exploded. And then they have the kickoff, and the kickoff is botched by Spanish Fort trying to pick the football up on a little pooch kick down the left side. Oxford jumps on the football. It exploded again. You and I live in a community that's passionate about high school sports, passionate about high school football. I've been there when we've had games that went like that. I can get a sense of how important that win was for Oxford and how deserved that win was for that community, because that community gets it and they do it well.
Well, just so many great players that have come through there, and just a lot of, support and trying to get over the hump. And, Opelika's still trying to get there. They were close again this year, and they would have loved to have been right next door in Auburn competing for. They would have set a record if Opelika would have made it with the fans. And go back to Zay Britt, the quarterback for Oxford, the kid that moved over. That's KJ Britt's brother.
Okay.
So that saw KJ Britt down on the sideline last night, and hugging him. And so you talked about family last names in communities. There you go. I mean, has there been two better in the last 5 years come through that school than those two Britt boys?
No, they're really special players. They had 3 Fagans starting in the secondary. 3 out of 4 are from, I'm guessing, the same family.
They got to be.
I don't know the whole storyline, but they were all super. And this 10th grade class for Oxford,
I told you. Back
Brett,
in
you
8th grade.
did. When y'all went over, and did y'all lose a game or two in the 8th grade, and that was it?
Well, they beat us. That was
They drummed y'all. I remember that.
One kid.
I see it.
With him.
And he was the one that scored the touchdown last night, wore number 5. Saw him get into the football game on the offensive side, not until the second half. What a year for that area. Think about that. I know we're up against the break, but I want to talk about that as we come back, because I noticed on Twitter last night about 1 o'clock in the morning as I'm trying to crash down, the running back for Oxford was a transfer over from Anniston. And Anniston gets to the semifinals without that man. What a year, but that's what's going on in that area.
But J.B. Carlisle kid?
Yeah, Carlisle was from Anniston. He had a dog life wrap on his wrist last night. I'll show you that post during break.
That's pretty interesting. Going to take our first break. Stay tuned. More of this Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill in Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
Find everything you need for the perfect outdoor living space at Russell Do-It Center, like the Fire Rock Outdoor Conventional Fireplace, smartly designed masonry systems that are easy to install and are less than half the cost of a scratch-built brick and mortar fireplace. Weber Grills, the best outdoor gas, electric, and charcoal grills, which always come pre-assembled. Yeti Coolers, premium coolers and accessories that are the ultimate in design, performance, and durability. Russell Do-It Center, experience and knowledge from the pros.
The same professionals you've trusted with your urgent care is now your primary health provider, Main Street Family Care. We provide annual physical exams as well as monitoring health conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, and more. All major insurances accepted, Medicaid, Medicare, and have self-pay options to accommodate everyone. See us in Alex City, just across from Walmart. Your care is our primary concern.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
Hi, I'm Kurt Bowman, General Manager of Vaden Toyota. We'd like to announce our new lifetime warranty on any new Toyota.
Hashtag lifetime warranty.
Hashtag we love our customers.
It can be used nationwide at no additional cost.
Hashtag customer service.
So come on by and let us show you
the Vaden way.
Hashtag maintenance matters.
Hashtag totally awesome.
Vaden Toyota of Sylacauga, just a short drive from home or online.
Hashtag your neighborhood dealership.
If you're seeing the American cockroach, throw up the red flag. Ladybugs, throw up the red flag. Ants and swarming termites, throw up the red flag. And kudzu bugs, throw up the red flag. That's Red Flag Pest Control. So the caution is on. Call Red Flag Pest Control today.
I'm Scott Davis with Red Flag Pest Control. Call me today, 256-825-0430.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kia of Auburn. Kia of Auburn on South College. New Kias at 0% APR financing and no payments for 90 days.
Kia of Auburn. Kia of Auburn. Kia of Auburn.com.
This is Coach Pat Dye. At Kia of Auburn, you are always number one.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. Give us a call, 256-234-6221, to be part of the program. If you'd like to give us a ring to talk about some of the games over the last 3 days. Georgia, LSU today, this afternoon, in the SEC Championship game. First time this state hadn't had a dog in the fight over there in Atlanta in 8 years. So LSU representing the Western Division for the first time in a long time. So it'll be interesting to see how that game plays out. We'll talk about that. All these other championship games, they'll know who the playoff 4 is after tonight, or you'll have a better idea. The selection will be tomorrow. Teams will know where they're going to play in bowl games. We'll talk about all of that coming up in the next 45 minutes. But talking the Super 7 right now.
Well, we were discussing congratulations to Oxford picking up their first state championship since '93. Brett and I, during the break, were talking about Anniston. Great running back for Oxford last night. We noticed on a post-game picture that he had Dog for Life on there, and he was a transfer over from Anniston to Oxford, which is very close, and we've seen a lot of this going on over the last 20-plus years. Great season for Anniston. But when Brett and I were growing up, you didn't want any part of Anniston. You didn't want no part of them in football. They won 2 state championships within a 4-year stretch when I was in high school.
That's right.
And they won one in 91 or 92. I don't know which year it was. One of the best high school football teams I've ever seen. But I was talking to Brett during the break about enrollment numbers at Anniston, just wondering how far they may end up, because you had heard
They
there's
may
an
go down to 3A.
Listen to these numbers. Anniston had 928 students in the top 3 grades back in 1985. Now, when you and I were in school, they were at about 800 students in the top 3 grades. So they're very close, very similar to Benjamin Russell during that time.
Yep.
Now, 338.
Man, that's unbelievable.
They're 600 students down to 338. They were the 33rd largest school in the state in the mid-'80s. They're the 178th largest school in the state right now. That's
mass evacuation.
That's crazy to say.
It's just a loss of people. I mean, there's no other way to spin it. And you look at those numbers, and you look at Oxford, and you look at some of these other schools around that area, and they've taken advantage of players leaving Anniston. I don't know why Carlisle left Anniston to go to Oxford.
I do know he helped, though.
Well, he did. He did. So I know he puts Dog for Life on the tape on his wrist. I don't know the story. I just do know that a lot of that's going on in the state. Right, wrong, indifferent, for good reasons, for bad reasons, whatever. Especially in tight territories where there's a lot of schools, you got guys bouncing from one school to the next. Look, it's not a cut on anybody, but we watched it happen several years ago with Russell County and Opelika. We went over and played Russell County, and there was no doubt, not even close, that running back for Russell County,
Josh Johnson, who's, by the way, having a great college career.
Well, and then he's running all over everybody at Russell County, and the next year he ends up at Opelika. I don't know. I mean, look, I'm not going to ignore the elephant in the corner of the room. I'm not going to sit around and act like that everything is kosher with all these moves. A lot of them are legit, okay? A lot of them have legitimacy. But we also know, look at Spanish Fort and Daphne this year, there's a lot of issues with people moving and rules and playing in a summer 7-on-7 when you legally weren't ready to play. And Spanish Fort, banking that, knowing that, and after they lose to Daphne, turning Daphne in and for a violation, and Daphne misses the playoffs. Only reason Spanish 4 was there last night. That's a story. You got to talk about it. It's part of the deal. I mean, it would be it would be against what we do if we wouldn't discuss that. And we know how big that was at the beginning of the year when people were talking about that. But the reason I say all that is that it's not just happening today. It's been happening for a long time. And it's hard to keep a thumb on every single thing that goes on in the state of Alabama.
Well, and if you do it legally.
If you do it legally, it's fine.
And it is what it is. And people may say, well, you think it's right. Yeah, selfishly, I dang sure do think it's right. You want to know why? You put me and my kids and my family in that situation, I'm finding every way, means, and necessary to make sure that I get them to the school if that's important to me.
Yeah.
It happens to be important to me. It happens to be important to a lot of people out there, and you can call and critique that all that you want. But if I'm living, let's say, in that 31 corridor up there in Shelby County, first off, I got a lot of options, a lot of great schools. But I look over and I see what's going on at Thompson High School. You think I'm not watching what's going on in Alabaster? Do you think I already know a lot about Mark Freeman? Super guy. Brett's sitting around, and we had the good fortune for a long time around here, and we still got a great coach now, but we had a great coach in Danny Horn that a lot of parents in this community said, man, you know how lucky we are to have our kids going through that system, to be coached by that Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. We're very lucky. And you have the option when you're within a 15-mile radius like Oxford and Anniston to go, Keith Etheridge is the coach at Oxford High School. This guy's already won 4 state championships. What he's selling, I'm buying. If you've watched him, he's a super guy.
Oh, yeah.
Good Christ-fearing man. I think a lot of him. I'm finding a way that I get my kids in that. So if you ask me, do I think it's right? Yes. And here's what I would recommend to those schools that get upset about it. Build a good product that people want to come to. And you can say, well, that's not what it's for. Well, good luck. Keep getting beat.
Yeah,
because that's what's
really
happening.
Is what it boils down to. And at the end of the day, and you got to look at all the different aspects of what goes on. And I know that it overly gets talked about the underbelly of all that stuff, and some of the schools pulling, and we're not pulling any names out. We know there's been some bad situations in the past with certain schools, but those have been handled. When that gets exposed, it gets taken care of. So you have a choice to move districts, to move to a place that you want to in this state. And if you do it illegally, like I said, there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, and pick your community that cares about what you care about, that you fit in well to. And if you want to pick a community that cares about football, Oxford's a pretty good place to pick.
Yeah.
If you watch the way that they handled themselves, the way that the fans came out in droves, if you watch their semifinal atmosphere at their home field against Pinson Valley, where there were ants all over that place. We knew there would be, but when I see the video and I see that they're all just on top of the fence and in the end zones and there's nowhere else to go. It's just a packed house. That's the atmosphere I want mine.
Oh, yeah,
to grow up and be a part of. And congratulations to Coach Etheridge, though. 4 state championships at Leeds, bounced around from Pell City, T.R. Miller, I believe, for a year, gets that job at Oxford. First year takes them to a state championship. Just an exceptional guy and a very impressive when you're able to do that. A lot like Coach Horn. Coach Horn in his first couple of years back at Central Clay has now won state championships. Just some guys know how to get it done.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Up against our next break, stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Growing your business isn't just one thing, it's a million little things. Should you lease, rent, or own? How fast can you get that part? Does it fit the budget? That's what your local Cat dealer is here for. With expert advice, flexible financing, and industry-leading equipment, you can get the job done day after day. Visit ThompsonCat.com, your compact equipment provider.
WOTM, your new home for high school sports in Alabama. WOTM has you covered with live coverage of all 7 championship games of the Super 7. WOTM is available to all TV providers in Alabama. If WOTM is not currently a part of your channel lineup, call your provider and request that they add WOTM. WOTM, your exclusive TV home for the AHSAA Super 7 basketball, baseball, and softball championships. All live only on WOTM.
What's behind the CA?
A world full of opportunities.
Where are you now? Where are you going?
Where do you want to be?
These are all important in determining your path in life.
More importantly, why be ordinary
when you can be extraordinary?
At Central Alabama Community College, you can be anything you wish to be.
Don't put your future on hold and don't settle for less than excellence.
We are Central Alabama Community College.
Central to you.
Central to your success.
Be the hostess with the mostest this holiday season at Chicken Salad Chick with our easy party catering. Need a quick appetizer? Stop by Chicken Salad Chick and grab a quick chick of any chicken salad flavor or the pimento cheese ball covered with crushed pecans and crispy bacon. Remember, no meal is complete without a sweet treat. For a limited time, our pumpkin cheesecake is back and it's delicious. Chicken Salad Chick can feed any holiday crowd with our custom fit catering. 12 flavors of chicken salad, there's sure to be something for every taste bud.
Skag, the toughest name in lawnmowers. Unmatched quality and performance for over 3 decades. The clear choice, the best mower money can buy for work or at home. Top lawn care professionals and discerning homeowners know that Skag means productivity and reliability. Every Skag mower is proudly built right here in the USA. Don't settle for anything less than simply the best. Skag.
Satterfield Outdoor Living on Highway 280 in Alex City.
So, you may not know it, but you've seen our work everywhere. For a combined 50 years, SignSource has been Central Alabama's premier option for all your sign needs. Custom signs for your business, club, or organization. Wraps and decals for your vehicle or boat. Full-color banners for your big sale, or a photo collage on canvas for grandma. All with fast, friendly, prompt service. Check out our website at signsourcenow.com. 888-533-6758. Go straight to the source. SignSource.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. Really just now getting started on the program. An hour and a half left. A lot to talk about, breaking down the 7 state championship games at Auburn this past week. Just talked about the 6A game. We'll slide down and talk about the 5A game now. One that was very similar to the 6A game. Exciting. A lot more points, obviously, than what we saw last night. With a 14-13 game, but Central Clay wins 31-27 over Pleasant Grove.
Just a great game. You said that last night may be the best one of the week. This is the only other one that you would go, I don't know. They don't get much better than this. And this is the second year in a row that we've seen a game go down to the last few seconds for Central Clay, and they find a way to win. And that doesn't just happen by chance. You have to have a very confident, a very tough, gritty team together and all buying into what you're selling and making plays at the end when they need to. We've been around great ones that seem to do that, and most of the time it is a culture deal with inside the program and in the community that gets you to that point. And right now, with Danny back at the helm in Clay County area, they're there, Brett, and that was a great Pleasant Grove team. Let's start there.
Yeah.
Did you know much about Pleasant Grove before that ball game?
No, I didn't.
Your thoughts on that program, the coach, and just what you saw off the hoof from what they put out there?
Just based off what I saw on the field, I mean, they got it going on over there. Coach LeBeau obviously had his team well prepared. They, executed extremely well on offense. I think they did what they needed to do to win the game. Central Clay was just able to make one more play than them. That's what it really boils down to if you want to look at it. And, I think you'll look back at the series of events that happened in the end zone when Central Clay was down 3. There is no other way to spin it. They snapped the ball in the stands. That was a safety. But if there's ever been a time where a false start penalty benefited somebody, it benefited Central Clay. I mean, it's part of the game. They had a chance to punt the football again. This snap wasn't much better, but credit Yates for going up and grabbing the ball literally with one hand, saving a safety. And he gets the ball off. He's not trying to do anything special. He's just trying to get it out of there. He punts one, and on that surface at Auburn, it's a thin surface. It's a great surface, but it's a fast surface. And those balls just really take off on the ground. And, you look at Hill coming up for Pleasant Grove to try to fill that ball, and he muffs it. And Central Clay has a guy down there to fall on the ball. I mean, that's about a 60-yard swing in field position, and also a 5-point swing in the game. You go from being down 5 to being up by driving down the field and scoring a touchdown. Now, they had to score. Central Clay had to get the ball and still drive the remainder of the field. But I don't remember in a game a series of events really spinning and swinging the momentum of a game like that series did.
Totally agree. And Yates, the unsung hero in that football game, also played well on the defensive side of the ball. But to make a play like that and to give his team an opportunity to go down and put that score on the board that they needed, and then to hold on at the end. Perryman, the quarterback for Pleasant Grove, was dynamic, passing the football for 316 yards, 4 touchdowns on the night. I heard Danny in the press conference, which I watched yesterday, and by the way, you can go catch up with all of our AHSA Radio Network press conferences, our halftime shows, all that we had going on throughout the week through our social media outlets. But Coach Horn said, if I had to choose, I'd much rather him run the football than throw it right there, because the athletes that they had at receiver scared you to death. They had one after another. Chris Lewis is one that a lot of SEC programs are looking for to having them as part of their program in the years to come. But Perryman makes a decision with around 10 seconds left to go as he runs out of the pocket that he sees daylight in front of him. 4 or 5 Central Clay defenders realize that he has tucked the ball and is running towards the end zone. Wood comes across. He's the first to make contact about the 3-yard line. He's holding on. And it takes J.D. McKinley, great sprint. McKinley, I don't think, had been out of the football game the entire second half. Tip your hat to all those running backs and linebackers for Central Clay, because they played both ways pretty much the entire football game. But McKinley makes a hit at the 1-yard line along with Wood, and they get the football down at about the half-yard line. And no timeouts left on the clock from a decision that Pleasant Grove makes on the sideline to throw the red flag out there and challenge a first down call on 3rd down and 1. It would have been 4th and 1, trying to pick that first down up. When they go to replay, make a decision that there's no way that you can change it. You lose a timeout if you throw that challenge flag and it doesn't go your way. That timeout loomed large when the football's inside the 1-yard line. There would have been 4 or 5 seconds left to take that timeout, get to the line of scrimmage, and run one more play, but they didn't have it there to choose to do that. Just a tough way to lose. Looking down there on the field, just really feeling for those kids because they had laid their guts out there. And Caleb said this last night, and I'll close with this on 5A. They could have played that football game for another 10 hours, and I think the same thing would have happened. You just had a sense that they were so evenly matched.
Yeah.
Central Clay was going to get theirs running the football. Pleasant Grove was going to get theirs in the passing game and also running the football when they needed to. It was just a great football game against 2 really good football teams in 5A.
Yeah, we talked about being one-dimensional, and it cost Spanish Fort. Only 4 passes for Central Clay in that game. Again, you look at, teams like that usually have to rely on one aspect of the football, or one's not working for them in a championship game. A lot of times it doesn't work out. It did for Central Clay.
Yeah, over 300 yards rushing for Central Clay in that ball game, 181 of those going to Quentin Knight, who was the MVP. 2 consecutive years for number 16, rushing for over 2,000 yards.
They'll miss him.
He's a special player. They've had really one running back after another go through that program that has a chance to move on and play in college.
That's right.
Cameron Peoples is one that's still, I think, currently going right now in college.
Is it Appalachian State?
I think he may be. Yeah,
it is.
And he's been a really good player in college, and we weren't surprised to hear that.
Oh, great kid too.
And so, congratulations to that community. Danny Horn gets a lot of the press, deservedly so. He and Terry Curtis now are tied with 8 state championships all-time apiece, as the most in state history, as Terry Curtis wins one again yesterday for UMS Wright. But I'll also say the other guys that we had here at Benjamin Russell for a while, congratulations to them from us. Chase Horn. Chase called a well of a football game. Tip your hat. I know Chase probably wanted to throw it around a little bit, but he sees that they're leaning on him, takes advantage of what's given to him, still picks up over 300 yards rushing. Well, you don't have to throw it, don't throw it.
Well, if you're running the ball at that pace and you're having that much success on the ground, why would you go away from it?
And Coach Burkhalter, who hung around here at Benjamin Russell one more year, goes over and part of that defensive staff, I think leading that defensive staff at Central Clay, super guy. I think a lot of him. I think a lot of all of those guys, they go over and they win 2 consecutive state titles back in their hometown. It's just a wonderful story, and one that a lot of people around this state understand and see how special it is.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Congratulations to Coach Horn and that whole staff and those players and those families up there. Just a tremendous, tremendous season once again. Stay tuned. More of the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
WOTM, your new home for high school sports in Alabama. WOTM has you covered with live coverage of all 7 championship games of the Super 7. WOTM is available to all TV providers in Alabama. If WOTM is not currently a part of your channel lineup, call your provider and request that they add WOTM. WOTM, your exclusive TV home for the AHSAA Super 7 basketball, baseball, and softball championships. All live only on WOTM.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill in Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life. Since the dawn of time, mankind has needed tools. But not all tools are created equal. AGF Machine Rental Sales and Service has tools for all commercial construction or big residential projects. AGF Machinery offers the most durable and hardworking brands of ASV, Skyjack, and Wacker Neuson. Aerial lifts, scissor lifts, loaders, excavators, and forest equipment on demand for the best possible price. And backed by the Southeast's best team of professionals. Visit any of our strategic locations across Alabama for all your equipment needs. Or online at agfmachinery.com.
Hey Realtors, do you know about LMG Ad Agency? We build your brand and help sell your properties or a unique lifestyle so you can focus on your clients. We focus on professional photos, videos, aerial photography and videography, and commercial real estate. We'd love to tell your story. Contact us today at 256-392-4250 or visit our website at lmgadagency.com.
A&M Plumbing, service at its best when you need it most.
From the smallest drippy faucet to drain cleaning to water heater replacement to gas lines to total systems replacement, A&M Plumbing handles it all. Visit amplumbing.net today for the experienced, licensed, and insured pros at A&M Plumbing.
A&M Plumbing, A&M Plumbing, service at its best when you need it most.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. A couple more segments here in the first hour. Closing out the Super 7 talk is, you can hear it in my voice, been a grueling 3 days, but we survived and moved through it. Moving down, let's talk about a game that happened yesterday in Reeltown and Fife. I want everybody to understand something. Reeltown was 13-1 going into this game. All right, you don't normally, when you look down and you see a blowout, you see a team that possibly maybe just found a way to get to the state championship game. Maybe it didn't work out. This is a team that legitimately ran through.
Take yourself a break, Brett.
Yeah.
Jump off, and let me do a couple of minutes, and let's clean your mic up and make sure that we're good to go here. But yes, Brett is talking about this Fife program, and I'll pick up exactly where he is. If you're over in Reeltown, and maybe you probably do in Reeltown understand what a great program Fife is, but most of the state that don't keep up with it like we do are like, who in the world is Fife? Well, let me tell you, this year, Fife outscored their opponents 639-43. That's Clay County mid-90s numbers. Those are like fake numbers where you go, do what? They gave up 43 points in the season in 15 football games. They gave up 43 and they scored 639. Make sure you're telling me that right. Yeah, I'm telling you that right. And they do it almost every year. And you come watch them, and you say, well, they must have some kind of dynamic system over there at Fife. They must look like Oklahoma. Or they must look like
an Oklahoma drill on every play is what it looks like.
It is a full-blown rugby scrum.
That's
is that the best way to explain
it?
Look,
this is how easy it is to explain. Line the quarterback and one running back up, and usually the running back's back there just to block. It's a snap to the quarterback, and he's nothing but a running back. It's the Notre Dame box. It's the single wing in 2A football. And where they win the games is not the games are a formality. They win the games in the offseason, in the weight room. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're more athletic, and they force the athleticism. It's not that they have an exuberance of unbelievable 4- and 5-star athletes. I don't know that they have anybody that ever gets offered a scholarship. But what they do is they line up and they said, buddy, we're going to know this system, and we're going to know it backwards and forwards. Another thing about Fife is you just don't see them make mistakes. Tony Harris from Alabama Department of Transportation was standing over there beside me in the first half of that game, and he officiated high school football in this state for 22 years. One of the best officials we have, still umpires baseball. And I looked over, and it was 21-0 Fife over Reeltown, and they had the ball, and he said, we were talking, and I said, and Fife needs Reeltown needs a turnover. They need a fumble, and he just calmly looked over at me and said, they ain't fumbling. And he said it just like that. That's the thing about Fife. You have to beat them in every phase of the game. They don't give you anything. They don't turn the ball over. They don't make mistakes. You may make a play in the backfield every once in a while, but for the most part, they're going to maul you to death up front. And they're going to do that for 4 straight quarters. They're never going to let up. And that's just their style. That's their mentality. I think their coach has done a phenomenal job with that program. We had a couple other people in the booth with us talking about Fife and the culture up there. And when that coach came in and what he did in the summer, and he had a petition written against him, to the school board saying that what he was doing was just ridiculous and unfair, and how much time. And basically what he said is that this is how we're going to do it. If your kid don't want to play in this program, he's more than welcome to do something else. But this is what we're going to do, and this is how strenuous it's going to be in the off season if they want to play in this football program. And, well, you can kind of see who won out. And you can kind of see what ended up being the telltale for Fife is that coach had a vision, and he knew what they needed to do to win, and that's what they do every year. They just run over people. That stat that you just put up, 600-something points to 40-something points in a season, that's ridiculous.
I think the most important part that Brett says right there is, and this is something that needs to be looked into, built on. But some coaches are really good, and we've been having a lot of discussions this week who's the best coach in state history. Clearly, we've got two coaches that just win their 8th state championship. Terry Curtis and Danny Horner are in the conversation. But those that don't know, Coach Benefield at Fife is in the conversation. And those that know high school football know there's no end in sight. When you win 639 to 43, there's no end in sight because there's no one in your classification that matches what you're doing. He's not going anywhere.
When you beat Collinsville 21-0, and everybody said that was basically the scariest game Fife had all year because it was 7-0 in the third quarter, I believe. I mean, that's really what it boiled down to. Collinsville wasn't going to score on them. But Fife struggled a little bit. Good credit, Collinsville had a great team. I think Collinsville averaged about 30 points a game, and then they just got totally shut down.
They have a single Jacksonville State athlete on Fife.
They could, maybe one.
I'm trying to make a point here.
No, you're making the point. You are making the point.
I mean, I'm guessing not a single kid that, and there may be, and this is not a knock on the kids. I think the kids, this is the biggest compliment I can possibly give a kid because I would like to think that there's a whole lot of us that look like us that we don't have a chance. We don't. There's really no one out there looking for someone that was my frame or my size and my skill set at 18 years old, dying for me to come over and save their program. Not the type of athlete we are. Really, I think the whole team for Fife looks like that. They beat your brains in, and it's such a breath of fresh air.
It's a team.
And it's a culture, and it's a community.
It's team.
And it's a community that's bought in, and now it's kids that are bought in, and I'm sure that there's Fife hats that are rolling all over that community. There's no way in the world a little boy in that community is 10 years old and not playing youth football. I just don't believe it. And the communities that build that type of culture around, they win. The communities that don't, they lose. And they consistently lose. And until you change that, you're going to keep losing. And Fife, I would like to know, it'd be worth the trip to go over there and just see what they do.
I would like to go see
from
that.
Start to finish because it's one of the best stories in the last decade. I don't think it's got any end in sight. I really don't.
There's not. There's really not. Up against another break. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
The same professionals you've trusted with your urgent care is now your primary health provider, Main Street Family Care. We provide annual physical exams as well as monitoring health conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, and more. All major insurances accepted, Medicaid, Medicare, and have self-pay options to accommodate everyone. See us in Alex City, just across from Walmart. Your care is our primary concern.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
WOTM, your new home for high school sports in Alabama. WOTM has you covered with live coverage of all 7 championship games of the Super 7. WOTM is available to all TV providers in Alabama. If WOTM is not currently a part of your channel lineup, call your provider and request that they add WOTM. WOTM, your exclusive TV home for the AHSAA Super 7 basketball, baseball, and softball championships. All live only on WOTM.
Growing your business isn't just one thing, it's a million little things. Should you lease, rent, or own? How fast can you get that part? Does it fit the budget? That's what your local Cat dealer is here for. With expert advice, flexible financing, and industry-leading equipment, you can get the job done day after day. Visit ThompsonCat.com, their compact equipment provider.
Expect it or not, the loss of a loved one is difficult. Put your family first by planning ahead. This is Joseph Dean, new owner of Alabama Funeral Homes and Cremation Centers. We are a full-service funeral home with an on-site crematory and cemetery. Whether your need is immediate or you would like to plan in advance, our experienced, compassionate staff can assist you in designing an enduring memorial experience, burial, or cremation. Alabama Funeral Homes and Cremation Centers on Highway 280 in Camp Hill or online, alabamafuneralhomes.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kia of Auburn. Kia of Auburn on South College. New Kias at 0% APR financing and no payments for 90 days.
Kia of Auburn. Kia of Auburn. Kia of Auburn.com.
This is Coach Pat Dye. At Kia of Auburn, you are always number one.
I'm Jimmy Goree with Goree's Furniture. We would like to invite you to come shop our huge selection of furniture. But if you don't have time, we have over 2,000 items you can have shipped directly to your home. Go to GoreesFurniture.com, look for 48-hour quick ship. Shop, click, ship, it's just that easy. You can shop us here, or you can shop us online, only at Goree's Furniture.
Your express way to saving.
Welcome back to Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. Final segment of the first hour here. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, go ahead. Caller, you with us?
Lost the caller there, but Brett and I are laughing because I am feeling for the northern half of the state.
That's
in that classification right now, and I really have only one team that I can think back to in my lifetime that I go, they used to beat everyone like that, and that's that mid-'90s Clay County team. But this Fife team in that part of the state up there, other than Collinsville, they don't get games. I mean, there's not a ball game. Well, I would love to hear a pregame speech in that 77-0 debacle that went on. What are you selling to the kids to get them up?
I don't know what
I mean, because
that was mentioned yesterday, and this is not a cut on Real Town, but when you look up and it's like 40-something-7 over there on the other side, I mean, it's just like those guys didn't show any emotion at all. I mean, they're not jumping around going, we're winning the state championship. They're used to it. They're just used to it because here's some of the recap on some of the scores for them. And the reason I was laughing and kind of lost my composure for a minute is, I mean, this is ridiculous.
It is.
I mean, this is like a lawnmower. I mean, just getting mowed down. I mean, Sand Rock 55-0, Cedar Bluff 42-0, Asbury 47-6. They must have had a play off. They gave up 6 points. I mean, seriously. And then they went on a streak. They beat North Sand Mountain 42-14, and I mean 62-14. And the reason they gave up 14 is because I'm sure they put their 8th grade in. I'm not kidding. I'm not being funny. And then they went on a run 3 straight weeks where they scored 40-something points and shut out their opponent. Ider 47-0, Sylvania 42-0, and Sheffield 48-0. Collinsville was their closest opponent all year. They beat them twice. They played them the second week of the season, and they beat Collinsville 24-3. It's a pretty good game for 5. And then they beat Collinsville 21-0 in the semifinals, and everybody up there was a little scared. It was 14-0 going into the fourth quarter.
Okay. Instead of the 21-0 game in the semifinals.
Instead of 7-0. So it was 14-0, and Fife was able to score another one late. So let's go to the phone lines. Caller, go ahead. You're on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
Good morning, guys. How y'all?
Good, Jerome. How about you, buddy?
Hey, now talking about Fife. Now Lafayette played Fife that one year. Lafayette had to go up there, and their field and their facilities around look good. I mean, because
I'm not surprised to hear that.
Every time Lafayette got the ball, every time Fife got the ball, they scored.
That happens often.
They seem like they playing together. And they said they only had like 3 seniors or 4 seniors at the most, and you might as well just count on Fife to be there for the next 2 years. Consider what they got coming back. And the way they stay physical and everything. I think Fife will get this thing next 2 years. Because that quarterback, I think he's a sophomore. And they was talking about they didn't have like 3 or 4 seniors on the team. So, but it was a good series. I'm glad for Clay Central. I'm glad they won. But when you go against Fife, you got to play your heart out. If you don't, you're gonna get beat.
Good call, Jerome. We sure do appreciate your phone call this morning. And, he's a great fan of Lafayette. And Lafayette had Boobie Whitlow at quarterback during that stretch that Jerome's talking about. And Lafayette was scoring some points in that game, weren't they, Brett?
They were,
just
man.
Could not stop.
I'm about to pull. I'm pulling them up. That's what we do on the show. We just kind of get in our own mode here. I got to pull up.
But you have got to give just a basic rundown of you and Chad Keyson's conversation on going over to Fife and playing a road game.
And just went up there, and that coach Benefield let them in. I guess they do this to everybody up there, and they show up there for a playoff game, and they real nice.
Pretty good Horseshoe Bend team.
No, real good.
Yeah.
You're in the playoffs, man.
Yeah.
This isn't some. Just look at what we've been running down. Everybody else felt like they had a pretty good team too. He said, y'all go ahead and make yourself at home. I'll be back over in a little bit. I got to go feed the cows. It's not that, he comes back. The guy just ain't worried about nobody.
Yeah.
It don't matter if the Green Bay Packers would have got off the bus. He said, I got to go down here and feed Bessie and whoever else and take care of them, make sure they're fed, and I'll be back over here and lay one on you here in a couple of hours. That's basically what he's saying. This thing is ridiculous, man. And Fife is, you look at it, they've got 4 state championships now in school history, 14, 16, 18, and 19. But this train, this locomotive has just started.
Yeah.
It's just started. And you've got a situation now that they just – it's like the Sweetwater Leroy stuff that we saw when we first started. We caught the tail end of Sweetwater Leroy when we started calling, but they had already mauled people for over a decade in both classes. I'm serious, man. That's just – and we saw, the kids that we talked about at Sweetwater, we said, who in the world is going – and they have fallen off a little bit, but this Fife situation with Benefield there, it really isn't going to go anywhere for a long time.
Great season for Reeltown. Matt Johnson's a super coach over there, and they've got a program to be very proud of. Get great fan support, wonderful kids. I watch the way the kids interact with one another, even on a game where you're disappointed. I try to put myself in their shoes. But you're up against a buzzsaw, and should be no reason.
Mountain. They beat North Sand Mountain 62-14. You know what North Sand Mountain's record was?
What?
9-4. 9-4. I was expecting to look down and see like a 2-8.
Well, I knew North Sand Mountain usually puts a good product out there on the field in football.
Wouldn't you like to go 9-4?
Yeah, love to.
They got hit with 14 buzzsaws right upside the head. They had to have had their 8th grade in the game for them to score 14 points.
And the point, though, and I have to go back and give the point. The point is not that you're in 2A football, and Christian Story, by the way, who should probably be Mr. Alabama in football, deserves that award. We'll see if he'll get it. I think he will, as he breaks the state record for touchdowns scored. But in Lynette, in 1A football, when you see that young man out there on the field, Brett, he is just head and shoulders athleticism-wise from anyone, and he would look like the best athlete on the field up and down classification.
Yeah.
But in 1A, it's really.
Oh man.
But when I watch Fife, there's not a single one of him. There's none of him.
None of him. I got to give this before we get the break. You know what Fife's record is since 2000 when they score 20 or more points?
What?
217-10. You know what their record is when they score 30 or more points? 180-1 since 2000. Buddy, they get 30 on you, you can just chalk it up. Get the bus cranked up. It's over. It's like Jerome said, every time they touch the ball, they scored. Just this the way they do it up there, man.
Notre Dame box, rugby.
That's what it is. Just I know he's going to get it, and he's going to run right there, and I still ain't going to be able to stop it.
Offensive lineman shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, there's
you
no
don't see that anymore.
No.
You see splits. You're trying to create running lanes for athletes. At least that's what everybody's selling.
They creating them all.
They're not selling it.
Road graders.
Yeah.
They just maul people.
And we're not talking 6'4", 290.
No.
None of that. Zero of that. We're just talking about a program that's built around, I'm about to take this 12-year-old kid, and by the time he's 18, he's going to be a lot stronger than if you're equal with your kid at 12 and you get him to 18.
Ain't no doubt.
That's what I'm seeing.
Up against another break. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
WOTM, your new home for high school sports in Alabama. WOTM has you covered with live coverage of all 7 championship games of the Super 7. WOTM is available to all TV providers in Alabama. If WOTM is not currently a part of your channel lineup, call your provider and request that they add WOTM. WOTM, your exclusive TV home for the AHSAA Super 7 basketball, baseball, and softball championships. All live only on WOTM.
Since the dawn of time, mankind has needed tools. But not all tools are created equal. AGF Machine Rental Sales and Service has tools for all commercial construction or big residential projects. AGF Machinery offers the most durable and hardworking brands of ASV, Skyjack, and Wacker Neusen. Aerial lifts, scissor lifts, loaders, excavators, and forest equipment on demand for the best possible price. And backed by the Southeast's best team of professionals. Visit any of our strategic locations across Alabama for all your equipment needs. Or online at agfmachinery.com.
So, you may not know it, but you've seen our work everywhere. For a combined 50 years, SignSource has been Central Alabama's premier option for all your sign needs. Custom signs for your business, club, or organization. Wraps and decals for your vehicle or boat. Full-color banners for your big sale, or a photo collage on canvas for grandma. All with fast, friendly, prompt service. Check out our website at signsourcenow.com. 888-533-6758. Go straight to the source. SignSource.
J.A. Smith Construction, with 19 years experience, is your trusted choice for construction. Site clearing and grading for new home construction, basement excavation, concrete paving, storm drain installation, fish ponds, and slough dredging. No job is too big or too small. Call Alexandra at J.A. Smith Construction at 334-531-0199 or email asmith@jasmithconstruct.com. J.A. Smith Construction, your trusted choice for construction.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown here in hour number 2. Thanks for joining us out there. Our program brought to you by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air every single Saturday. Couldn't do it without them for sure. we got to go back and we talked about these games here, and we got to go back to Wednesday, and we'll end our talk with the Super 7 with that 6 or that 7A state championship game that all of us felt like Central Phoenix City was going to win that football game, and not only did they not win it, they got it taken to them this year, and so that was a statement for Thompson. That was the culmination of where they've been building to over the last 3 years, getting that program to where it is now, and capping off a great season by a revenge factor of getting their doors blown off the year before by the same team.
Yeah, 52-7 last year from Phoenix City to get their first state championship since '93. And Thompson this year returns the favor, wins 40-14, their first state championship since '82. And I just want to stress here with Thompson, it's a community effort.
Yeah.
This is, you bring Mark Freeman back to the Birmingham area after he picks up a couple of state championships at Spanish Fort and helps them build that program. You get him back up to the Birmingham area and you throw resources at it. And you throw care and you throw want around building a great athletic program. And I know that this is an outlier, but I do believe that this has to be part of the discussion over there. Thompson proved this could happen in wrestling. Thompson didn't have a wrestling program. They decided they wanted to throw a lot of resources and effort toward their wrestling program a decade ago. Now they're the best wrestling program in this state, and they took over the mantle of some really good programs that had a good culture and continue to still be a good programs, and one of the main ones being Vestavia. But now Thompson's the best in this state and one of the best in the country, and they didn't have anything. So they built it from the ground up, and they got community support. Well, they've done the same thing with facilities. They've done the same thing with all of their other sports where they're very competitive. And now they've done the same thing with football that most people, I would say most people in this state, didn't know if they could get this done.
Yeah.
Even Brett Pritchard sitting over here beside me, who knows football very well and is connected throughout this state as well as anybody.
Didn't think it was going to happen.
Didn't think it could happen because of the region that they play in.
I did. I just said, man, they just are so far behind, and I get it, and they're trying, and they can get a good program, but they'll never beat Hoover. And I'm eating my words. I mean, look, it just shows you. Look, if anything, that taught me a lesson, and it should teach all of you out there a lesson that if you're determined enough, and you're dedicated enough, and you're motivated enough, and you go, we are going to win here. That on my watch. And this is how we're going to do it. Now, we may suffer for a few years, but we're going to get this thing to where it is a culture around here. And if you don't want to buy into this, then go do something else. But this is what we're going to do, and we're going to take the kids that we have, and we're going to mold them and shape them into what we want. That's what we've seen with Fife and all these other communities. Thompson just did it on a 7A level.
Good point.
They 7A, 2A, 4A, 3A, wherever you are. I mean, you can do it no matter what you want to do. And here's another comment. I want to go to Patrick, and Patrick played on the state championship team here at Benjamin Russell. And when they lost in 2000, he said, I remember when we lost that championship game in 5 overtimes. He said, on Monday, our focus was turned to next season. He said, that's why we won. He said, it didn't want about whining, we were glad we got there, and, this is who we are, and, woe is me, and things didn't work out. The very next Monday, it was, how do we get back and play that team again? And how do we avenge what happened? And that's exactly what Benjamin Russell did.
And that's exactly what Thompson did.
It is. It's exactly
and
what they did.
Thompson, they were humiliated last year. When you get over the hump and you start defeating some teams in your region that have had your number for decades, and then you make a state title game for the first time since '82 and you get beat 52-7, it has to be humiliating. And your star quarterback's moving on, and he's been your star for a couple of years, and now he's heading over to the University of Alabama. There has to be a lot of people around the community going, can we keep doing this? It only got better. And this Sawyer Pate kid, he's special.
You know why? Because it was a program and as a team.
Yep.
Just one player didn't make them who they were. from the fan standpoint and the media standpoint, it was all Talia Tungavailoa was the only reason Thompson's up here. But the team believed that wasn't the reason. He was just a special player on a really good team. That they could take another guy and interject him in that position and keep going in the right direction and keep getting better and better. They proved it right there. And, going back to Patrick's comment, it's all about a mentality. It's all about what is ingrained in you from the top all the way down to the bottom, and everybody's got to be bought in. It's no different in a business.
Yep.
If you're working in a business and you ain't bought in to the philosophy of the business, and every time you show up to work, you got a sour look on your face, and you don't like the way somebody's handling the things above you, well, then you live in a free country. You got the opportunity to walk right out the door and go find you another job somewhere. It's the same deal. That's why football is such a good life lesson to me for people down the line, because it ain't always going to go your way, and it ain't always going to be the way you want it to be. But you got to learn to persevere and work through all that kind of stuff.
I think that's the reason great leaders and great coaches separate themselves from mediocrity so much. And Freeman has done that wherever he's been.
He has.
Coach DuBose at Phoenix City, he's done that wherever he goes. He can go to Florence for a year.
And he
can have Florence almost there within a year. And it takes, the Danny Horns of the world can show up. And he can struggle. We saw him struggle mightily. But if you get them to buy in and you change the culture around and you get them to...
Well, that's what it boils down to.
Then you can get it turned around pretty quickly, and we've seen some of these programs do that. But congratulations to Thompson. Congratulations to that whole Alabaster community. You've deserved this. You support, great fan support there for the 7A games from both communities. Phoenix City's always done youth athletics well. They've always won a lot. But both of those communities just seem to be getting better and better, and it won't be the last time we see those two playing for a state championship. Yeah. And what a difference that is over the last 20 years. It was to a point 10 years ago that it was a total shock when Hoover doesn't make a state championship.
Hoover won 11 state championships from the year 2000.
I think they went to 14 out of 16, though.
They did, but they've won 11 since 2000. So we're in the year 2019.
Yeah.
And so a combo of 6A and 7A, they won 11.
I know it.
11.
They helped the state.
They did.
Because if everyone didn't decide that they wanted to get up to the level and the heights that Hoover had taken their program,
they'll be back.
And they'll be back. They're not going anywhere. But I do say that Hoover has a lot to do with the success for a lot of these better schools here in this state.
Up against another break. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Hey Realtors, do you know about LMG Ad Agency? We build your brand and help sell your properties or a unique lifestyle so you can focus on your clients. We focus on professional photos, videos, aerial photography and videography, and commercial real estate. We'd love to tell your story. Contact us today at 256-392-4250 or visit our website at lmgadagency.com.
Hey, slow down, buddy. This ain't Talladega, and that race car driver's number on your back window, you ain't him. Truth is, just 10 miles over the speed limit, and your chances of killing someone are 4 times higher. So forget the number on your window and memorize the one on that orange prison jumpsuit. Stop speeding before speeding stops you.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
You already know the power and reliability of a Mahindra tractor. Get ready to meet their ATV and UTV lines. Haul more and tow more. Do more. Reaching speeds up to 60 miles an hour. Models have a 12-inch ground clearance and the ability to haul up to 1,200 pounds. There's a Mahindra utility vehicle and a model specifically to get the job done. Test drive today at Lake Martin Tractor and Outdoor. Serving Tallapoosa, Coosa, Clay, and Talladega counties. 256-392-3613.
Alex City Marines, located on Cherokee Road in Alexander City, and the Yerkes invite you by to see what they have available today. The 2020 Manitous and Landaus are in, and boy, are they gorgeous. Also, some great deals on demos. Take advantage of that while they last. Alex City Marine also is doing shrink wrapping, storage. Get in line now. In fact, call this number, 256-215-FISH. Alex City Marine, Alex City.
Hi, I'm Kurt Bowman, General Manager of Vaden Toyota, and we'd like to announce our new lifetime warranty on any new Toyota.
Hashtag lifetime warranty.
Hashtag we love our customers.
It can be used nationwide at no additional cost.
Hashtag customer service.
So come on by and let us show you
the Vaden way.
Hashtag maintenance matters.
Hashtag totally awesome.
Vaden Toyota of Sylacauga, just a short drive from home or online.
Hashtag your neighborhood dealership.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. We're going to shift over, talk some college football now for the remainder of the show. Randy wanted to start with the coaching carousel that has already begun here in the country with a ton of coaches. If you flip over here and you look at the ones that have already been fired, you've got Chris Ash at Rutgers. Good luck. Somebody stepping into that one. Willie Taggart at Florida State. I mean, you got to remember, these coaches got fired during the season or right there here at the end of the season. Matt Luke, Ole Miss, Barry Odom, Missouri, Chad Morris, Arkansas, Charlie Strong out at South Florida, Adazio at Boston College is out, Bob Davie just resigned at New Mexico. He done had enough. Tony Sanchez at UNLV, Frank Wilson at Texas San Antonio, and then we get on down to some of these. Mike Bobo quit and resigned at Colorado State. They didn't get no better over there. And then Chris Peterson resigned at Washington. They hired Jimmy Lake, the defensive coordinator there. It wasn't Chris Peterson just done with coaching. He's ready to move into an administrative role. And, everybody thought, man, he's leaving there. He would have been a prime target for another school. Mike Leach signs a 5-year extension at Washington State, so he and the Pirate crew ain't going anywhere. Greg Schiano did get hired at Rutgers, and this is his second stint back at Rutgers, and that's a good deal for Rutgers because I know he didn't it didn't work out in some of the other things that he's done since then. I think he went to Ohio State and was a coordinator, but ends up back at Rutgers. Had a good stint there. If there's a possible stint that you can have there at Rutgers. But this SEC situation, Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, Missouri, Arkansas, what?
No clue. Looks like Lane Kiffin's going to get the Ole Miss job. From everything that we have heard around the stadium with beat reporters and writers and Luke Robinson and everyone else.
We thought Missouri had one too, and it got hacked.
Lane Kiffin will probably be announced tomorrow as the head coach there at Ole Miss. You like that? Let's start there. Your thoughts on that?
Now, I'm going to give you just my honest take. Dynamic offensive mind, play caller, not a very good human being. Just not. I know we're not supposed to judge and cast stones and all that. I'm just calling what I've seen and what his track record is. It's not that I'm pointing a finger at him for what he's going to do in the future. I'm just looking at what he's done in his past. Now, can he make amends? Can he do that? We know it was a train wreck at Tennessee. We know it was a train wreck at USC with the way he handled himself as far as the from an administrative. He's a good coordinator. Nick Saban, and here's the summation of Lane Kiffin to me. Like Luke said last night, he said he was such a bad person at Alabama that they were in the middle of a championship run, going to the playoffs, and Nick Saban said, you need to pack your you-know-what and get the heck out of here. He wanted him gone before they even got to the playoffs. Might have cost them the national championship. They do beat Washington in the semifinal. They go on and lose to Clemson in basically a shootout in the national championship game. But Lane Kiffin was their offensive coordinator, so they suffered a little bit. But Nick Saban was like, I don't care. I got to get him out of here. I've had enough of him for 3 years. And, yeah, he did some really good things, but I don't know. I mean, probably for Ole Miss, it's the best they can get right now out there on the market. They take advantage of a guy that's been down there in Florida at a lesser-than school that's done a decent job, and, he's looking to get back in the SEC. He's proven that he can compete. But is he a long-term guy? He'll have to prove it. He'll just have to prove it if he can be somewhere more than 3 years.
Well, and I agree with you. I think that Ole Miss has to take the best option they can get that they think can turn this thing around. Right. And that's a tough place when you look at the recruiting rankings. And you see the times that Ole Miss has been able to sneak up there and put a good recruiting class together. There's sanctions coming right after it. So I don't know if they're back.
And you don't think he's going to try some stuff?
Well, I don't know if their back-end network is not as groomed as some other programs around. I would say that it's probably not, because you can't convince me. It's kind of like Auburn basketball. You can't convince me that Ole Miss is doing something worse than other programs are.
They're not.
They just getting caught, or when they do get caught, they're getting big-time sanctions thrown their way. So it's a tough job and a tough place to win. It looked like a lot of the program there was behind Luke, so I was surprised to see him get fired. The product they put out there was not terrible this year. It wasn't like they were 2012 Auburn and not competitive with anyone that they're playing. They weren't that. And it seemed like the players wanted to be around and playing for him.
People talk about Gene Chizik, and I like Gene Chizik now that you hear him on the SEC Network and all that. But you just bring up something I wanted to interject. That 2012, you look at Auburn, and you look at where they are recruiting, and you look at where their program is, he deserved to be fired.
Oh, yes.
You get something at a program like that it has crashed that bad.
Oh, yeah.
You have lost total control of every single thing about that program. You have no respect from the players. You have no respect from the people you work with.
Yeah.
You have no respect from the fans. You have no respect from the people that pay the bills. You got to go. And so the reason I brought that up is because you talk about Ole Miss and some of the things that they struggle with competing against some of the top teams in the West. Auburn's never in that position. Alabama's never in that position. You let a program at Alabama, Auburn, and Alabama's had their years too. They get down to that level, you deserve to get tossed. And you're a little bit more patient at Ole Miss, Mississippi State, but Ole Miss and Mississippi State proved just a few years ago that they can take it to the number 1 and 2 teams in the country.
If you allow them to recruit.
If you allow them to recruit. And they've got talent over there.
Yeah.
The state of Mississippi is loaded with talent. That's the difference in that job and one that we're about to talk about in Arkansas. They live in a state that isn't real talented. They live in a state that they have geographical barriers to the conference they're recruiting in. So does Missouri. Man, Arkansas is in trouble.
The story I saw last night is that Lunny is going to get hired. He's the interim.
You know what that tells you, don't you?
They can't get anyone to accept any option that they're giving out there. They have to just take what they have accessible to them. And Lunny, who is the interim, who was a great quarterback there, I guess he's got at least some of the fan base may point back and say that he was part of a program when it was better than it is now. I don't know if that's sellable.
No, Matt Joneses and Felix, Jones and Darren McFadden's on the horizon at Arkansas. They're just not. And, the 1 or 2 good players they get in that state, they get taken out. Somebody comes and gets them. They're not staying home. Darren McFadden was a home guy. He was from Arkansas. He grew up wanting to play for Arkansas. He went there. They don't have enough of them coming through to be a consistent contender. Just the bottom line.
So take what they get.
take what they get, and we got to take a break. We come back. We'll talk about this thing with Missouri and Arkansas because I just think they got to leave the conference. I really think that's what's going to end up ultimately happening and it's best for the SEC and for those two teams because I think the SEC will pick two other teams up. Stay tuned. More of the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Scotty Fortenberry is Dadeville and the Lake Martin area's full-service Alpha agent. His office on Broadneck Street offers comprehensive life, home, auto, and boat insurance at Alpha's competitive rates. Scotty and Alpha Insurance are Alabama's #1 life insurance company for a reason. You'll always get the personal attention you and your family need. Scotty also has your commercial needs covered, so whether it's just a quote or full insurance evaluation, call Alpha agent Scotty Fortenberry at 256-825-9211.
Become a member of the Superior family. Superior GMC Cadillac, Superior Hyundai, or Superior Automotive Pre-Owned. Between our 3 dealers in East Central Alabama, we offer the superior selection and service for any buyer's needs. All with the personal touch of being locally family-owned and operated. Check out any of our dealers online, or our 3 great lots in Anniston on Quintard, or our pre-owned superstore Pell City, and join the Superior family of value.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
Did your team just win the big game? Are you looking for a unique way to honor a valuable employee? Lila's Engraving has you covered, offering a large selection of custom trophies and plaques. Lila's also offers cast aluminum car tags, custom engraved wine glasses, clocks, and wood cutting boards. They even offer custom framing for any art or picture as well. Lila's combines the best quality items with the fastest service around. With over 27 years of experience in the Alexander City and Lake Martin areas, Lila's Engraving is your only choice for custom awards and engraved gifts. Always remember, winners choose Lila's.
Guys, it's back! Inline skating.
Rock and roll hair?
Calling this thing a pound sign instead of a hashtag? No, the Zensation is back at Zaxby's.
The Zensation Salad is back, and introducing the new Zensation Filet Sandwich Meal with hand-breaded chicken, Asian slaw, wonton strips, and citrus vinaigrette, both served with an egg roll. The Zensation Salad and Filet Sandwich Meal, only at Zaxby's.
The door is open, the beer's cold, and the biscuits are hot at Foshee Watts on Dable Road in Alexander City. Fishing season is in year-round and live bait is available. Non-ethanol gas is available along with propane and pellet ice. So come on by and see what we're all about, where the kitchen is open Monday through Friday early at Foshee Watts on Dable Road in Alexander City. And tell them old Katie sent you right here from the front porch, WAXC TV.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. Get your calls in if you'd like to make a comment, 256-234-6221, talking about these coaches and the coaching carousel. These aren't the only ones. There's going to be more coming. And James Franklin just extended his contract to 2025 with Penn State. And me and my dad were talking about this during one of the games yesterday when you and I were sitting there. I think it was during the Reeltown game. And that came across the screen, and, you know, he said not only did he win at Vanderbilt, he won big at Vanderbilt. And look at that program where it is now and what Penn State did. And he brought Penn State up out of the ashes. Now, you remember what they were going through when they were able to get him and sign him.
Yeah.
I think, you know, I know James Franklin lays an egg here and there, but Penn State has turned the corner. That program was left for dead. I mean, I'm just going to be honest about it. But James Franklin and his persona and what he's able to do recruiting and the way he's a marketer, man. You talk about Bruce Pearl, James Franklin's the same guy on the football side. He's out there with pom-poms and hoorah and who can I go talk to and who can I get Penn State football in front of. That's who he is.
And it's a necessity.
It is.
In that corner of the United States now, it may not have always been this way, but right now, if you aren't getting talent from the Southeast to come play for your school, you're getting your brains beat in on the lines of scrimmage.
Oh, I know it.
You go look out at the West Coast. The West Coast, they can't compete on the lines of scrimmage, Brett. They're not competing on a consistent basis with any of us on the lines of scrimmage. And if you're not going to, you're not going to win in this type of football that we're playing. You know, which brings up a point that you said in the last segment that I just can't get out of my mind. Missouri and Arkansas, at some point, you've got to know that you're in a very good conference, the best in the nation. But if you don't fit.
They don't fit.
And my point is, you can't just stay mediocre for a long, long time because you are leaving from a business standpoint. You can't lose in football from a business standpoint. A private institution like Vanderbilt can decide that baseball and basketball is more important to us,
they concentrate
and they're fine.
That's right.
And you can deal with that.
That's right.
But Missouri and Arkansas can't stay in a conference that they can't seem to find a way to be competitive. I'm with you. I don't see any end in sight for them.
The SEC went after Missouri because of the St. Louis market. Patrick made a comment on that yesterday on the Auburn Blitz. I get all that, but I've been to St. Louis, and I know how far away from the Southeast I felt in St. Louis. You don't feel anywhere near the Southeast. The SEC went up there 2 years ago and had a basketball tournament. It was a flop. They didn't travel well. It didn't feel right. It felt like you were on the moon. I mean, they brought it right back down here to Nashville and Atlanta and New Orleans where it belongs in the SEC. It just, from a geographic standpoint, doesn't make any sense. And Missouri's had good football teams in the past when they competed in other conferences. You know, they have a fan base that kind of gets after it. They've got the rocks out there in the end zone. But you look at their stadium now, when they get their brains beat out. We went over there 2 years ago, Randy, when they had one of their best quarterbacks ever. We went over there, and I'll never forget. I felt like we were playing a middle school team.
I remember, yes.
I mean, and they had a decent team. I mean, they didn't have a bad time. That team won 8 games that year. We beat them so unmercifully. The times Alabama has played Missouri could have scored 70 points every time. They're just so far away. And I know they caught lightning in a bottle. Gary Pinkel got them to 2 SEC championship games. But we beat their brains in, and Alabama beat them the brains in the next year when they went back. So they don't fit, and Arkansas has grown into not fitting. When they first came into the conference, it felt like a good deal in the early 90s. And, yes, they got a good basketball program under Nolan Richardson. Ain't been real good since, have they? Baseball program, now that's probably the most consistent thing for Arkansas. They're a top 5 program year in and year out.
But they would be that in any conference.
They would be that they would especially be that in the Big 12.
Yes.
I just think Arkansas needs to go back. When they were in the Southwest Conference, it fit for them. They dissolved that conference. They came to the SEC. They're a Big 12 team, and I think Missouri's a Big 10 team. I just think that's the field.
Who right now do you think would replace those 2 teams in the SEC?
That's the problem, is that, you know, Arkansas does bring you the baseball. They do bring you the potential to have good basketball there. I don't know. That's a good question.
I think it has to be a program, though, that needs to take a step up from where they are, and they feel like they've got the recruiting base in their backyard that they can go out there and get enough Joes and Boes to compete. A Central Florida, for me, is one that would be the first I would think
They're growing, and they got a huge population of students. They're the biggest school in the state of Florida. They're the largest school in the state. They've proven that they can compete, and that's a lucrative place for a coach to go because of the fan base. And I went to the Peach Bowl. I saw how rabid their fan base was about being there and how disinterested ours was because they ain't been a part of anything like that before. The city of Orlando and all of the people in that surrounding area and the amount of good football that surrounds Orlando, they'll get their fair share of recruits. They've been out recruiting Miami. So, I mean, there's a chance that Central Florida's a great.
I think that they would be a better fit from a football standpoint, and this is a random take, but I'm trying to think of who can take a step up and where they can grow. And I think Georgia Tech would be a better fit in the SEC.
They were before.
I know they were before, and getting them back, and if they were to do a better job with facilities, take advantage of the Atlanta market.
I agree.
Take advantage of the recruiting layout that they have to go out and find recruits within a 250-mile radius. They've got plenty.
Don't you think that makes a lot more sense to bring a Georgia Tech and Central Florida in than to have Arkansas and Missouri way up here in the Midwest? They're Midwest teams, man. I've driven through the Midwest.
And if the TV market and the TV standpoint's not the only reason that you're putting deals together, yes.
I mean,
that would be the only reason I can see wanting that other.
I agree.
I just don't sense that those type of TV packages. I know TV is going to be huge.
Yeah.
And any media package they put together is going to be huge. But in today's world, in today's atmosphere, it's not regional anymore.
No, it's not regional.
I mean, my gosh, the idea that you can't have it.
St. Louis is not a SEC town. Look, I understand, but is St. Louis that big a deal? I mean, that you can't go over and grab. I mean, I know you got Atlanta, but if you get Georgia Tech, you get even more. If you go down there to Orlando, you get more. That makes more sense. We got some great comments coming through. We're up against the break. We come back, we're going to start rolling down some of these comments. You're right, Chad. No program has ever been affected by a motorcycle crash like Arkansas. I ain't never seen nothing like it. When he came out there like that and skin up with that Sugar Bowl hat on, from which they got their brains beat out in, that changed their program's fate. Up against the break. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Comfort is our number one concern. Advanced heat and air.
With the hot summer season just around the corner, it's time to decide if your current air conditioning system will keep you cool this year. Call Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning for a free estimate on a brand new energy-efficient Trane heat pump system for your home or business. Your comfort is our number one concern. Call Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning at 256-234-5052.
WOTM, your new home for high school sports in Alabama. WOTM has you covered with live coverage of all 7 championship games of the Super 7. WOTM is available to all TV providers in Alabama. If WOTM is not currently a part of your channel lineup, call your provider and request that they add WOTM. WOTM, your exclusive TV home for the AHSAA Super 7 basketball, baseball, and softball championships. All live only on WOTM.
Growing your business isn't just one thing, it's a million little things. Should you lease, rent, or own? How fast can you get that part? Does it fit the budget? That's what your local Cat dealer is here for. With expert advice, flexible financing, and industry-leading equipment, you can get the job done, day after day. Visit ThompsonCat.com, your compact equipment provider.
Grab a 5-quart jug of Napa conventional motor oil for only $12.99 for a limited time at Napa Auto Parts. We're ready for back to school, even if you aren't ready. Purchase any Napa Automotive battery and receive $25 back by mail at Napa Auto Parts.
Life is a sequence of little successes. The story of my Southern Union success began the day I walked on campus, making new friends, mastering a new skill, reaching a personal goal, the encore performance, the first date, the internship, and now, soon, the dream job. That's the story of my Southern Union success. Register for classes and get ready to watch your Southern Union story come to life.
The Prestige Selection at Gills Auto Sales in Opelika. has the largest selection of prestige cars, trucks, and SUVs in Central and East Alabama, all with financing available, little to no money down, and extended warranties. Get pre-qualified in under 2 minutes, online or from your mobile device at GillsPrestigeOnline.com. It's the Prestige selection at Gill's Auto Sales, 1430 Gateway Drive in Opelika.
He saw a ghost about 2 miles from home. Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown. Just got a text, Central Florida, 68,000 students. That's Ohio State big. Central Florida's a fit, man. You know, it's time today and age for the old hats in SEC to quit looking down on. Central Florida is not the Central Florida team that we all used to schedule for homecoming. You also remember that Florida State used to be a team that everybody used to schedule for homecoming until Bobby Bowden showed up. Programs can change. Central Florida has changed. You know, they've had some great years the last 3 years. They've proven that they'll go and play whoever. They've beaten several really good teams, including Auburn, in a Peach Bowl. And you can say we didn't want to be there or whatever, but they did take care of it. Going back to what Patrick said Jimbo left the cupboard. If you can leave something bare at Florida State, heck, he left his Christmas tree on the side of the road. He got out of town so fast, and like you just said, looks like Norvell.
Yeah, Mike Norvell from Memphis looks like he will be announced as the new head coach at Florida State, and that's a good get. I don't know enough about Norvell to have a really good take, but I do know that he has recruited this area well.
He has.
And the ones that he's recruited that's gone over there has hung in.
I think Arkansas thought they had a real good shot at this guy. And I'm telling you, from the Memphis to Arkansas move would have been from a logistics standpoint, this is not good for Arkansas, man.
But if you're a coach that wants to compete.
Oh, you go into Florida State over Arkansas for sure.
God,
but
it's not close,
everybody was thinking, though, Arkansas fans especially.
Well, I feel for Arkansas fans, but if you just from a standpoint of sitting back, and I'm going to use a little common sense as a coach and want to make sure that I'm going to continue to win and build my career around that winning, I don't know how in the world you would choose coming to the SEC West and Arkansas over FSU and the ACC. You can't.
Patrick said Arkansas just cannot find a coach. Chad said, look at the state of every program, and he's referring to Lane Kiffin here. Look at the state of the program he's ever left. Mississippi State is loving this hire more than anybody. You think so? Think Mississippi State loving this hire more than anybody? I think they probably know deep down it's going to crash.
Yeah, I think that they expect that, but how high is the ceiling with Lane Kiffin is the only reason that programs keep taking a chance on him. It's the only reason Nick Saban took a chance on him.
And how many times are people going to keep getting burned by him? USC got burned by him.
I agree. I wouldn't want him as mine. I'm not saying that.
You remember when it was rumored last year when Gus Malzahn's seat was like blazing on fire? Which, I mean, you couldn't. The back of his pants were seared because it was so hot. And Lane Kiffin was brought up, and you and I both said,
please no.
I mean, you felt dirty.
Yeah.
I mean, you felt like, man, I got to go take a shower. I don't want Lane Kiffin leading my program. Look, sometimes you just take what you can get in Ole Miss. Yes, he brings a name. He brings an offensive mind, but can he clean up what he does off the field is the problem. Patrick said Oregon's offensive line is like an SEC. You know why? Because it's Mario Cristobal. That guy can coach, man. And I'm going to go ahead and throw out there what I heard from some beat writers 2 weeks ago before the Iron Bowl, and the talk about Gus Malzahn again, if he left to go to Arkansas or if he, got fired, whatever, that one of the main targets for Auburn would have been Cristobal.
It'd be a great hire.
An outstanding hire.
Yeah.
Look at what he's doing up there.
But he would have no reason to leave Oregon unless it was for a top 5 SEC school or an ACC school that has proven that they've got a passionate fan base and can win. You get
No,
where
I
I'm coming.
agree.
It would take somewhere like
He can
that.
recruit, man.
Oh yeah, he can coach too, and he can coach the lines of scrimmage. And he's coaching the lines of scrimmage over there on the West Coast, where you don't get the Joes and the Bows that we get down here.
Well, it's like Patrick said, their offensive line is playing like an SEC line, and that's what he is as an O-line coach. Did a great job at Alabama with that line. When he was there, they were superior to everybody else. Patrick thinks that Memphis is a great fit for the SEC.
I'd rather personally have Georgia Tech over Memphis. I think all of the well, here's the deal. Basketball with Memphis would bring a great story and a great past and tradition, so that would be a nice get. You could say Memphis, you could say Louisville. Louisville's another program that would be, I think, a better fit than Missouri.
Yeah. Well, it's closer. It makes more sense.
Yeah.
Kentucky and Louisville are already a heated rivalry. I mean, that just brings it into the conference. I like the deal. And, if you bring Louisville and Memphis, or Louisville and Central Florida, or Central Florida and Georgia Tech into the mix, how do you go back and recreate the divisions? What do you do there?
I'd like to see that happen anyway. Right now the West is just, and I know that it's cyclical.
When it started, the East was the dominant.
But this has been a 20-year span where the West is by far and away the more dominant division. I don't think it's going anywhere, and it would be nice to, I would love to see.
Well, I think you'd add Louisville to the West.
I'd love to see Auburn and Alabama in different divisions.
You think Auburn and Alabama needs to be in the East?
Or are you
talking about East and West?
I would like to see the two of them separate.
I don't know that you'll ever have that.
Maybe not, because you're going to have the two of them play, and then how do you
have
keep
a rematch?
Yeah.
And I just, you don't know. I mean, you'll never know on that. But Mark said, does Norvell go to FSU? And if he does Dillingham go with him?
Probably, it's a good point. I think that's going to be an issue that we have coming up soon anyway. This was a good win for Gus Malzahn. He moves to 9-3. The 9-3 mark is really good for Auburn. And any of us that looked at it with reasonable eyes before the season, if you were told that Auburn finishes 9-3 and beats Alabama in the final game, would have said, I'll take that. But there's still issues. And there's offensive issues from a scheme standpoint that you can't run from. Because if you don't have those issues this year, that defense is good enough to win the 3 that you lost.
Yep.
And I hope that Gus Malzahn is not stubborn enough to look across over at LSU and see what the changes were made in the passing game and doesn't take advantage.
Because look at what Bo Nix can do.
I truly believe Auburn we don't surprise anyone offensively anymore.
We don't.
Our scheme in the passing game, there's no surprise. There's no LSU this year whenever they change up everything. I mean, they lose 29-0 to Alabama at home last year with the same quarterback rolling out there and score almost 50 on them.
And now he's a Heisman, probably going to win the Heisman.
And yes, the hire could go wrong, and you can make a hire that doesn't work out.
Yeah,
but I just think Chad Morris is about to come available. And what does Gus Malzahn do there? And if he does go out and give Chad Morris a chance to come to Auburn, then Dillingham's out anyway.
Oh, yeah, and I think could be the best move ever. I mean, especially with Bo Nix the next 2 years, at least.
Needs some grooming from a quarterback standpoint.
He does.
And we need some grooming from just a passing standpoint and a scheme standpoint, in my opinion.
Mark said, were you surprised at Oregon, and why not go after Clemson in the ACC? We'll go ahead and take a break, come back, and we'll answer both of those questions. Stay tuned. Final segment of the program right after this.
Skag, the toughest name in lawnmowers. Unmatched quality and performance for over 3 decades. The clear choice, the best mower money can buy for work or at home. Top lawn care professionals and discerning homeowners know that Skag means productivity and reliability. Every Skag mower is proudly built right here in the USA. Don't settle for anything less than simply the best. Skag.
Satterfield Outdoor Living on Highway 280 in Alex City. Hey, it's Steve from the Car Stereo Shop in Auburn, and after 10 years of serving the good people of East Alabama and West Georgia, we're still doing business the same way, offering the best products at the best prices with the area's best warranties and installing them with the area's best technicians. With great customer service, a knowledgeable sales staff, and our commitment to customer satisfaction, along with the best selection of the latest technology in the industry, there's no reason to shop anywhere else. Shop with confidence. Shop at the Car Stereo Shop in Auburn.
Folks around these parts have known for a long time that Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280, is your #1 stop for automotive service and repair. At Walls Tire, you'll always find quality service at a fair price on everything from AC, name brand tires, big or small repairs, routine maintenance, towing, and more. When your car or truck needs to run right, there's one place in the area to go, conveniently located and easy to find. Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280.
At Russell Medical, our transitional care unit is a great alternative to nursing home care after a medical or surgical hospital stay. Transitional care increases strength and endurance through skilled nursing and therapy programs to promote a safe return home. Enjoy on-site therapy, private rooms, an activity center, and more. Call Russell Medical today to see if our transitional care unit is the right care for you.
Finding a job might be tough, but starting your new career has never been easier. Wellborn Cabinet in Ashland has a wide array of career opportunities with benefits. General labor production, skilled cabinet builders, product assembly line, shipping, over-the-road truck drivers, clerical, marketing, security, daycare, office clerks, and so much more. Apply in person, 38669 Highway 77 South in Ashland, or online at wellborn.com. Building cabinets, building careers, and building our community.
Since the dawn of time, mankind has needed tools.
But not all tools are created equal. AGF Machine Rental Sales and Service has tools for all commercial construction or big residential projects. AGF Machinery offers the most durable and hardworking brands of ASV, Skyjack, and Wacker Neuson. Aerial lifts, scissor lifts, loaders, excavators, and forest equipment on demand for the best possible price. And backed by the Southeast's best team of professionals. Visit any of our strategic locations across Alabama for all your equipment needs. Or online at agfmachinery.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown. Final segment of the program here. Some questions. Those two questions for Mark. Were you surprised about Oregon last night?
I wasn't. I thought that Oregon, from a line standpoint, plays an SEC brand of football. I think they do have the best coach out west. I think they're just going to get better as long as they keep him around, Brett. But Utah, whew.
Well, if Auburn, let's just be honest about it. The schedules, and we can sit here and go Auburn 9-3 and we lost 3 close games and Gus is in trouble and all that. If we'd have played Utah's schedule, we'd have been undefeated. Let's just be honest about it. You know, all these schedules ain't created equal. So you look down and you go, man, Utah's on the cusp of the playoff, and that's where that debate goes back in. Are they really one of the true top 4 teams in the country? I don't think they are, even if they'd have beaten Oregon last night. You know who they were going to play in the first round? Ohio State. Anybody want to watch that? You want to watch Ohio State and Utah in the first round?
Well, I'm going to repeat what I've said over and over again over the last few years as we have our 3 or 4 weeks out of the year discussion on whether Gus Malzahn is going to retain his job. I by no means want to see him go anywhere.
Nobody does.
I like what he sells. I think he's a great guy. I think that the culture he's building around there is really good, bringing back some old players that not only were a part of a good culture, but they're selling what I like to be sold around Auburn, and they're guys that I like selling that product. So I love what he's doing. I don't want to be on that list looking for a coach. But you can't play the schedule that Auburn plays and not hope that you can get a little better at certain things.
No, you're right.
Because if you sit there, then mediocrity can run.
Stagnant.
Mediocrity can jump up on you quickly.
Ask Tennessee.
And the only problem I have right now with Auburn is a scheme standpoint. You know, I worry about what we're doing offensively in big football games, and it's hard not to when you look at the stats. The rushing numbers in big games have dropped by 2/3. We were rushing the football in 13 for 300 yards a game. Now we're down to 100 yards a game in 2019. That didn't take long for that to catch up. And the passing numbers during this stretch have never been great under Gus Malzahn. We've always been 60th best in the country, all the way up to 110 or so.
Well,
and I think we got a pro at quarterback right now. He just needs some tutelage, and we need a little change, because I could see Bo Nix playing like Joe Burrow if he was coached up right.
I agree. I don't want to be negative, but I'm going to go negative for a second. You know what the score would have been if Auburn hadn't had those 2 pick sixes?
Yeah, we would have lost by 2 touchdowns.
45-34.
Yeah.
Now what would we be sitting there talking about? Another mediocre offensive performance, a better than average offensive performance, but still 2 touchdowns away from beating Alabama on your home field.
Yep.
Let that sink in, man. I want everybody to sit there and think about that for a second. And here's the crazy thing, that Saturday talking about it on this show, we brought up that Alabama had 3 scores on defense and Auburn had none. Auburn hadn't scored a point on defense with this great defense. John Mass sent a message to us that day. He said, Auburn's defense will score 2 touchdowns today. I don't know what crystal ball he was looking in, but they did. They needed them. Needed both of them to win the game. You're right. I mean, there's still things to be worked out there. I think Gus Malzahn really needs to go out and find somebody that can develop Bo Nix, Chad Morris, somebody, an offensive guru, and he needs to take that and let him take the reins and go with it.
Because I see nothing but positives from the defensive side, even with the losses that you're getting. And, looking over across the state, anyone that is looking and saying that they don't think this Alabama reign's going to continue is crazy. Mac Jones played really good football. I thought Sark called a great football game.
Played good enough to win the game.
They've got nothing but premier talent coming in. They're out there on the recruiting front right now. Nick Saban doesn't look like an old 67, 68-year-old man. He seems to be wanting to get after it. They're not going anywhere. That was not a bad loss for Alabama with the losses that they had coming in. Now, they do have to cure their L's on defense.
Yeah, well,
I don't know what's going on.
They've given up to Clemson, us, and LSU into the 40s now.
But Nick Saban's not going to sit back and just be happy with what's going on defensively. There'll be some wholesale changes, and I truly believe once they make those changes, they'll get back to playing the brand of football that we're used to from them, because the recruits are just too good for them not to get back to that level.
The talent's there. That's going to wrap it up here for this Saturday show. We'll be back with you next week, same time, same place. For Randy, I'm Brett saying we enjoyed it. We hope you did. See you next time.
Attention! Opelika Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Task Force, reporting for duty, sir.
Okay, people, it's time to get serious. Serious savings on our entire inventory. Earl, what do we got?
Big savings, Sergeant. Save up to $15,000 off during the summer clearance event.
Excellent.
No payments till 2020. And credit amnesty.
Bring home $350 a week, you get up to $30,000 in credit. Outstanding!
All roads lead to Opelika. Opelika Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, just 25 minutes from Columbus. Call 800-NEXT-RIDE or OpelikaChryslerJeep-Dodge-Ram.com.
Growing your business isn't just one thing, it's a million little things. Should you lease, rent, or own? How fast can you get that part? Does it fit the budget? That's what your local Cat dealer is here for. With expert advice, flexible financing, and industry-leading equipment, you can get the job done day after day. Visit ThompsonCat.com, your compact equipment provider.
Okay, somebody's not wearing their seatbelt.
I don't wear seatbelts. Might wrinkle my shirt.
That's okay. I'm sure they can iron it before the funeral.
What funeral?
Yours. Almost 70% of people who die in car crashes aren't wearing a seatbelt.
Okay. There. You happy?
Just happy to be alive.
Seatbelts. It's hard to live without them. Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
What's behind the CA?
A world full of opportunities.
Where are you now? Where are you going?
Where do you want to be?
These are all important in determining your path in life.
More importantly, why be ordinary
when you can be extraordinary?
At Central Alabama Community College, you can be anything you wish to be.
Don't put your future on hold and don't settle for less than excellence.
We are Central Alabama Community College.
Central to you.
Central to your success.
Auburn Opelika has that perfect something for you. From sophisticated chic boutiques to exceptional dining, there's a retail or restaurant to make your next visit special. Whether it's elegant fine dining or freshly squeezed lemonade, you'll find the perfect fit for every taste and budget. The food's great and the shopping is too, so be sure to check out the wide array of gifts, decor, clothing, and more. For every occasion, Auburn Opelika has what you're looking for. Let's make your next trip memorable. Visit Auburn Opelika.
So, you may not know it, but you've seen our work everywhere. For a combined 50 years, SignSource has been Central Alabama's premier option for all your sign needs. Custom signs for your business, club, or organization, wraps and decals for your vehicle or boat, full-color banners for your big sale, or a photo collage on canvas for grandma, all with fast, friendly, prompt service. Check out our website at signsourcenow.com, 888-533-6758. Go straight to the source. SignSource.